Ladies and gentlemen, let me start with a brutal truth. Fear is the only enemy that lives inside your head and still charges you rent. It doesn't knock. It doesn't ask permission. It just moves in, sits on your dreams, eats your confidence, and tells you, relax. We'll start tomorrow. And the crazy part? Most people listen. People think fear is harmless. They say things like, I'm not scared. I'm just waiting for the right time. My situation is different. I'll start when I feel ready. My friend, nobody ever feels ready. Even your phone isn't ready half the time, it needs updates every 2 days. If it waited to feel ready, you'd still be stuck on Android 2.0. You ever notice how people can watch a 12-episode Netflix series in one night, but somehow they don't have time to start the one thing that could actually change their life? They say, I'll start next week. Next week becomes next month. Next month becomes after the holidays, then after wedding season. Suddenly it's been 3 years, and the only thing that grew was their fear and their stomach. And fear doesn't whisper, it talks like a motivational speaker. What if you fail? What if people laugh? What if you start, and then have to continue? What if aliens invade during your first step? Fear creates problems that don't even exist. Look at MrBeast. People see the insane videos now, but when he started, he was making content in his bedroom with a mic that sounded like it was recorded underwater. He didn't wait for perfect lighting or confidence. He just started. Meanwhile, some people are still waiting for the perfect ring light before they say their first sentence. Or take Virat Kohli, not the champion you know today, but the young chubby guy who walked into the Indian team with zero guarantees. He didn't know if he'd survive his first year, but he moved anyway. And that one decision changed cricket. Fear wants you to delay. Courage wants you to start. Fear says, what if it doesn't work? Reality says, what if it works better than you ever imagined? Let me give you something relatable. I once asked a guy why he wasn't applying for a job he wanted. He said, I don't have the perfect CV. I asked what was wrong. He said, there's a small typo. A typo. My friend, even your life has typos. You think a hiring manager will reject you because you wrote manger instead of manager? Fix it and send it. But fear made him rewrite his CV for 6 months. By the time he applied, the company had changed the entire department. That's the cost of fear, opportunities that had your name on them. Fear isn't just a feeling. It's a world-class storyteller. You try to take a small step, start a project, learn a skill, send an email, and suddenly your brain goes, what if it fails? What if people laugh? What if everyone judges me? My friend, people can't even remember where they kept their own keys. You think they're analyzing your life? Fear exaggerates everything. You make one mistake at work and fear says, congratulations, your career is over. Relax. Most people don't even notice. Everyone is too busy handling their own problems. I knew someone who wanted to start an online business. He had the website, the products, the idea, but never launched because he feared nobody would buy on day one. Nobody wins on day one. Day one is for starting, not succeeding. 3 months later, someone else launched the same idea and it blew up. Fear didn't just cost him money, it cost him his moment. People avoid the gym because they think others are watching. Trust me, nobody is watching. Everyone is suffering through their own workout. People avoid speaking English because they fear mispronouncing a word. Even fluent speakers mess up. Mistakes aren't disasters, they're progress wearing a different outfit. Fear gets loud right before your life is about to change. It becomes the expert in your mind. Think twice. Be realistic. Don't take risks. But have you noticed? Fear always advises you to stay exactly where you are. Fear hates growth. Someone once said, you don't fear the unknown. You fear losing the known. People stay in jobs they dislike, routines that drain them, comfort zones that aren't even comfortable, not because they want to, but because fear convinces them that staying the same is safer. Fear is like an outdated GPS. It keeps saying, return to the safe route, even when the safe route leads nowhere. Most people don't fail because they tried. They fail because they never tried. They wait for the perfect moment, perfect plan, perfect confidence. But confidence isn't something you get first, it's something you earn after you start. I once met a young woman who wanted to post her photography online. She had real talent, but didn't post because people might not like it. I told her, people don't even like posts from their own friends. Still, she waited. 6 months later, another girl posted similar content, not better, just consistent. Today she's building a career. The first girl still has the same photos, and the same fear. Dreams expire when you take too long to start them. Not because they get old, but because you lose the energy you once had. Look at Airbnb. People said, "Are you crazy? Strangers will never stay in someone else's home." If fear had won, the company would have died before it started. Same with Spotify. People said, "Nobody will pay for streaming." Imagine if they listened. Fear feels big when your vision is small. But when your vision gets bigger, fear becomes tiny. Fear shows up in small moments too, like ordering food online. You stare at the menu for 10 minutes worrying, what if they get my order wrong? What if it's too spicy? And then you end up eating noodles because fear protected you from spice. Even billionaires face fear. Elon Musk was terrified of launching rockets. He almost quit SpaceX, but didn't, because he knew fear couldn't run his life while the universe was waiting for him to try. Fear writes scripts, paints doom, creates imaginary disasters. But one simple decision destroys it. I don't care what could go wrong. I'm doing it anyway. Fear hates action. The moment you move, fear collapses. Fear has been running your life quietly for too long. It sits in your mind, your decisions, your excuses. But fear only has power when you give it power. Every person you admire felt fear. They just didn't let it vote. The truth is, the things you fear are rarely as scary as your mind makes them. The problems you imagine usually never happen. And the people judging you are too busy judging themselves. So here's your challenge: today, tomorrow, or right now, do one thing fear doesn't want you to do. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just start. Every time you move despite fear, you grow. Every time you try, even if you fail, you gain experience. Every step you take makes fear smaller. Your future isn't waiting for you to feel ready. It's waiting for you to stop listening to fear and start moving. So take the first step. Send the message. Post the video. Pitch the idea. Speak up. Take the risk. Because the only thing worse than fear is realizing you let it control your entire life. The world doesn't reward perfection. The world rewards courage. And you, yes, you, were born to move. So laugh at fear. Ignore the doubts. Go take what's waiting for you. Your life is bigger than your fear. Thank you for listening. And don't forget to like and subscribe, my friends.